My name's Vallie-Flagg. I'm 37 years old. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I fight out of the Jackson Winklejohn camp. I fought for Strikeforce, UFC, King of the Cage. I got into the sport and had my first fight in 2003, and I was 25, so I started a little bit later than most guys tend to start. I do pride myself on being a blue-collar type fighter. I get up in the morning and I eat breakfast and I go to work. Everybody wants to be an MMA fighter because it's an easy route for people to achieve some level of fame in some respects, but the reality is that the guys who are very good at it and who get to where they're at have really sacrificed and put in hours and hours and hours of hard work. I started my UFC career with an 11-fight unbeaten streak, and I wanted to keep that going as long as I could. It really was the fulfillment of a dream. You know, I'd always wanted to fight in the UFC. I love the sport. I love everything that surrounds it. I love the build up to the fight. I like fight week. I like having fun with it. I love the one-on-one kind of combat that you have with somebody. I love sharing that moment with somebody. When I got cut, I was bummed out. I felt like I could have done more in the UFC, and I would have liked to have done more. That being said, I didn't perform, and I lost some fights, arguably close fights, but I lost fights. So I wanted to spend a few more years there, and I wanted to retire in the UFC. With age comes a little bit of perspective, and I realized that that wasn't the end of the road. I was ready to have a family and settle down, so you know, my identity didn't have to be locked just with the fighting. The family aspect and the fact that, I mean, this is probably the person who I'm gonna end up marrying, and that's kind of changed the way I approach what I'm doing, you know, and the length that I want to be in the sport. But that being said, I personally want to end it a little bit early for them. My girlfriend Yvette has always pushed me to make sure that I did exactly what I wanted in the sport before I quit, so that I wouldn't leave with any regret. She's been extremely helpful. She pushes me when I don't want to do stuff. She's making sure that I'm still going to the gym. All she wants is the best for me, you know? And I'm lucky to have that with these last few years of my fighting. She knows I love the sport, and she knows I want to end it in a certain way, so she's really making sure that I do that. Maddie is my girlfriend Yvette's daughter, and she's awesome. She's 9 years old. Raising a 9-year-old girl, like starting to go from like 0 to having a 9-year-old in your life is one of the hardest things that I've ever done. I think it's harder than fighting. Little girls especially, because of just learning about how to respond to when she freaks out because the dog ate her toy, or everything that I'm supposed to learn. That Yvette and Josh, her dad, had 9 years of learning, and I'm just thrown into the mix and I have to learn it right away. So I think that's the toughest part for me, is figuring out what role I do play, and then how to be the best in that role. After my dad got cancer, it kind of became a thing where I was trying to be around my family a little bit more. And even when I go on training trips, I'd rather come home after a week and be around my family, like not just my girlfriend, but you know, I'm lucky enough to have my parents down the street from me. And that is an important part of my life, that I'm around my family that much, and that's why I tend to be more of a homebody. Stuff that I wish I would have done before there was the scare of cancer, you know, that I wish I would have done as far as becoming a better son earlier on, and the fact that I could have, you know, take advantage of my parents being right down the road from me, or when I was younger, you know, made sure I was around the house a little bit more for them, because not being my biological father, you know, I didn't get to know Tom that much, and really he is my father, you know. My biological father got killed when I was real young, and this guy was my dad from the time I was 12 on, and I wish I would have taken the opportunity when I was younger to do that, instead of waiting for him to get, you know, a terminal illness before I started to really get back to enjoying time with my family. I've always wanted to control my own destiny and not let anybody else do that. I do understand that the end of my active fighting is coming up. I've thought about it, especially recently after getting cut. I think guys linger for too long, and I want to do a few more things. I want to win some fights, and I want to get my brand out there a little bit more. The one thing I want to show is that I haven't quit growing in the gym, and that there is improvement, and you're going to see that improvement in my next few fights, that I'm really going to show that I've been working hard, and that I am going to go out on my own terms with fighting. I never want anybody to think that I didn't fight with all my heart and and leave everything in the cage every time, you know. And I think that should be every fighter's legacy to some respect, and I want to be able to show my family and my friends this was what I did, and that's kind of what I'm fighting for.